A woman in Michigan called 911 after hearing strange noises across the street on the 17th of March 2017.
911, what's the location of your emergency?
There's a man has a woman pinned on the ground. She's screaming, "Why are you doing this to me?" She's screaming for help.
As she went outside to investigate, her neighbor's panicked shouts echoed loud enough to be heard by the operator on the other end of the line. What connects these incidents? What dark secrets lie hidden behind the seemingly ordinary facades of suburbia? We uncover the chilling truth behind these enigmatic mysteries. Welcome to Dark Minds. Michelle Rogers' fight against domestic violence. Michelle Rogers, age 35, can be heard in distress. Moments prior, her partner of many years, Matthew Terry, a former Marine and wrestling coach, assaulted her with a knife just outside their residence. Despite the brutality of the attack, Matthew was apprehended, only to be swiftly released on bail by his affluent parents, who shelled out $250,000. The aftermath took a sinister turn when Kay Baker, an elementary school teacher from Florida, entered a relationship with Matthew. Shortly thereafter, she began receiving unsettling messages and explicit images via Facebook, warning her of Matthew's true nature. The source of these ominous communiques turned out to be Michelle herself, who miraculously survived Matthew's vicious assault in 2017. Through her ordeal, she discovered she wasn't his initial victim and resolved to thwart his future atrocities, thereby saving Kay Baker and ensuring Matthew Terry faced the justice he so egregiously evaded. Kay Baker, a victim of manipulation. On May 27, 2022, Matthew Terry, recently relocated to Florida, resided with his new partner, Kay Baker. The couple enjoyed an evening at the Landing Bar and Grill in Valrico, accompanied by friends. During the night, Kay, clad in a red shirt, briefly excused herself to the restroom. Upon her return, she encountered Kelly Andrews, a friend from their table. Kelly recalled an incident where a man danced briefly beside Kay at the bar, a seemingly innocuous moment. However, Matthew's reaction upon their return to the table was disproportionate, accusing Kay of wrongdoing for the trivial interaction. Subsequently, Kay and a friend conversed over the phone, attempting to placate Matthew's unfounded anger. Following this, a text was sent from Kay's phone, falsely reassuring others that Matthew had calmed down. The scene took a grim turn upon their return home as a disturbing discovery unfolded. Michelle Rogers, acquainted with Kay since Matthew's trial, faced the harrowing truth. Despite serving a short sentence for attempting to murder Michelle, Matthew had ensnared another victim, Kay. Michelle, battling through legal challenges including criminal trials, CPS lawsuits, custody battles, and restraining orders, was appalled by Matthew's manipulation of Kay, even communicating with her during his incarceration. Driven by a sense of duty to warn Kay, Michelle reached out, sending a poignant message accompanied by a photo of her hospitalization, unveiling Matthew's true nature and imploring Kay to recognize the danger she was in. But Kay, ensnared in Matthew Terry's manipulation, dismissed Michelle's warnings. Despite Michelle's fear for Kay's safety, her words fell on deaf ears and tragedy struck on May 28, 2022. Shortly after Kay's reassurance call to Matthew, a frantic 911 call from her neighbor revealed the horrific scene. Kay lay critically injured, bloodied and bruised, while Matthew was conspicuously absent. In a video from 2015, Matthew appeared as a caring figure, teaching Michelle's son to fish. Yet beneath this facade lurked a darker truth. Michelle noticed unsettling behavior early in their relationship, from incoherent drunkenness to violent outbursts, culminating in Matthew hurling a hot frying pan at her while she cradled their infant son. After enduring a grueling recovery and a failed trial in 2017, Michelle fought tirelessly to keep her assailant behind bars. Yet despite her efforts, Matthew's manipulation knew no bounds, ensnaring Kay in a web of deceit and violence. Exposing a pattern of violence. Beginning with Jessica Koch, Matthew's first victim, the prosecutor highlighted the disturbing pattern of behavior that characterized Matthew's attacks. Jessica recounted the harrowing details of the assault, where Matthew broke into her home, assaulted her and her girlfriend, and then shamelessly feigned victimhood to authorities. Next, the prosecutor introduced Michelle's case to the jury. Both instances featured striking similarities in Matthew's modus operandi, from his attire to his choice of weapon and the location of the attacks. In his first trial, Matthew had successfully convinced the jury of self-defense, leveraging minor injuries sustained during the altercation with Michelle to bolster his claims. Michelle Rogers bravely took the stand, recounting the horrific details of Matthew Terry's assault against her. During her testimony, she recalled the moment when Matthew, in a drunken rage, relentlessly attacked her, her head slammed repeatedly into the floor until her vision faded to black. In a chilling turn of events, Matthew then wielded a knife, plunging it into Michelle's throat with a chilling determination. With an act of incredible bravery, Michelle reached out and grabbed hold of the knife that threatened her life, turning the tables on her assailant in a daring bid for survival. Despite the searing pain and the overwhelming fear coursing through her veins, Michelle refused to surrender, fighting tooth and nail to protect herself and her unborn child from harm. As the sound of approaching sirens filled the air, signaling the arrival of help, Matthew relented and fled back into the house, leaving Michelle battered and broken but alive. With her last ounce of strength, Michelle sought refuge in the embrace of concerned neighbours, closure and justice served. As the trial neared its conclusion, Michelle expressed her relief at finally being believed by someone, acknowledging that this time, people stood by her. Before making his final address to the jury, Prosecutor Diaz called upon a few of Kay's loved ones to share their heartfelt testimonies. Kay's sister, Carrie Reboles, struggled to articulate the profound impact of Kay's absence on her and their family. Kelly, Kay's friend, returned to the stand, this time to speak about the young boys Kay left behind. Through tearful words, Kelly painted a poignant picture of Kay's love for her sons, Nicholas and Mason. As the verdict was read in the trial, the judge delivered a powerful statement.
I listened to the testimony of Miss Rogers, and I believe that you should have been in prison.
Condemning Matthew for his actions and holding him accountable for the loss of Kay's life. Throughout the trial, there was uncertainty regarding whether the prosecution would pursue the death penalty or a life sentence for Matthew. However, ultimately, the decision for life imprisonment without parole resonated with those closest to Kay. They believed that this was the most fitting punishment, ensuring that Matthew would spend the rest of his days behind bars, forced to confront the magnitude of his actions. For Kay's loved ones, there was a sense of relief knowing that Matthew would be held accountable and prevented from causing harm to anyone else. This relief was intertwined with the sorrow of Kay's absence and the realization that her life was tragically cut short. Today, Michelle continues her fight for the rights of domestic violence survivors, channeling her energy into raising awareness and support for organizations like EVE, which provide crucial shelter and counseling to women in Michigan. Despite the trauma she endured, Michelle remains steadfast in her mission to help others and create a safer world. Michelle has become a powerful woman, spreading awareness about the pervasive issue of domestic violence and sharing her own story as a beacon of hope for those who may be suffering in silence. Thank you for joining us today as we shed light on these tragic stories. Remember, awareness is the first step towards prevention. Until next time, stay safe and vigilant.